Hello everyone, I am Tacit, and today I'm going to be going over the Gems of War event objectives for this Sage Advice event, in which the Fakyr the Wise is added to the game. So of course this week we still have the old new mythic of the Libera still available in the drop table for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it is a good advice to not open Glory Gem Guild or VIP chests for the next several days, as you will only get this mythic. So if you want to open them safely again, you have to wait until this Friday, where you will not get this useless mythic within that drop table. Anyways, let's go over all the things for the week, a bunch of teams, and all the usual, as we do every Monday. So let's start from the troop itself. It is unfortunately a little bit underwhelming. Good arcane though, blue-purple. It's a great time to stock up on them. Or sorry, I mean yellow-purple. Good time to stock up on them. Anyways, as far as what this troop does, it is pretty consistent. It does it boosts a random skill on an ally, and then repeats this a second time, meaning theoretically you have two chances that this will raise your magic. This is good if it hit magic once or twice. However, its inconsistency of not hitting magic is going to be bad. If this was like one guaranteed buff to do magic and the other one was random, that could also happen to hit magic, then this would probably be usable, but given that both are random, the inconsistency of the fact that you will cast this many times and it won't necessarily end up upgrading your magic will end up making it so it's not worth using. It then also gets to summon a random Drifting Sands troop, but overall you're pretty much never going to use this unless you're restricted in such a way where you kind of have to. It's definitely not something you're really going to be putting on an important team. It does have some arcane to get even more stats, but once again, if he's not hitting magic, he's pretty much going to be doing almost nothing with his ability. So a little unfortunate there, as that could have been potentially a good opportunity to add a nice magic buffer, as we don't have too many of them in the game, though I guess they're kind of afraid to make them a little bit too strong, as of course magic is the best stat overall. Compared to any of the other ones. So as far as the event queue drop table, we do of course have a Drifting Sands event this week. As far as what is in the drop table, everything that you see here underneath Drifting Sands, underneath Show All is available. The 5 that are not in the drop table are Topazarf, of course. These are only available within the Dragon Eggs, all 6 or technically all 7 of the Gem Dragons, as well as the 4 Deep Hive troops, such as Queen Beatrix, which is oddly enough pretty much the best thing from this kingdom. All 4 of those, of course, are from the Deep Hive faction. So those 5 are not in drop table. Everything else you see here is. For the most part, it's a pretty skippable week on event keys. Both the 2 mythics aren't really a must-have. They're utility troops you'll use occasionally. This for double killing on poison, which can sometimes be ran for Explore 12. And Shubaner just as a random stat buffer. However, overall, it's not really worth using most everything here. And some of the good utility troops that do exist here are low enough rarity that you probably already have them laying around. So unless you're going for Kingdom Stars, it is a pretty skippable week, and I'd pretty much advise skipping on event keys unless you're looking to upgrade. It is possible to now get Drifting Sands to 24 star, realistically 23 if you don't have the Gem Dragon yet. However, it is definitely 20 plus starable, so if you are looking to get a little bit of extra armor, you can do so at the 10 star, 20 star, stuff like that, for a little bit extra armor if you haven't already gotten it. So that'd be your main incentive for opening event keys, not to necessarily get any troops, but to be able to get those extra armor bonuses for the Drifting Sands Kingdom. As far as the ward event is concerned, it is a very straightforward event this week. We have ourselves some extra magic, which is always great to see, and we are simply restricted to that of Drifting Sands. The scoring is very, very straightforward. You just keep taking whatever is the highest level. They will all give the exact same amount of points, so you pretty much just want to take whatever one you see happening the most. In my case, this is currently Ezerator, so we want to keep taking that as we are seeing it the most right now. And whatever one is just the highest level and the one that you're seeing most frequently will end up giving you slightly more points. So they're all giving the same, but the more you do the same room, you'll keep getting more and more points from that particular room. So whatever you see the most, just keep taking it, and you'll get even more from it. And that's pretty much the entirety of the reward event. Pretty straightforward. Just keep taking the ones you see the most, and that will make them a little bit harder. However, you will get paid back in even more points as far as the scoring is concerned. It is restricted to Drifting Sands. As far as some really good Drifting Sands options that are available, we do have things like Desert Troll for doubling of the yellow. We have anything that hits all enemies, being really good. This you even gets us from 250 wins on the Dervish hero class. So a great weapon to have for this event if you haven't already gotten it from it. Something if you need for a low rarity one, which I didn't actually show in the low rarity team because this is the low rarity team, but there's 2 decent strategies for it. One is Sand Runner that has a 75% mana start while having a decent damaging ability. The other one that is pretty decent is the one that we're kind of showing in this build, which is the Desert Worm. So Desert Worm has the capability to feed back into himself. He ends up creating yellow while also using yellow. So you can kind of loop it a little bit to get a little bit extra damage. As far as higher rarity stuff, you're primarily looking to end up using Queen Beatrix. Queen Beatrix spam is probably going to be your primary means of killing for the most part. And that's pretty much all you have to do. Also, you can use Topazarf if you happen to have it. However, I'm pretty sure most people did not randomly get them, though we do happen to have them. So who knows, maybe we'll go run it for the event just for fun. Though, of course, most people, I'm not showing it in any of the teams, as a good majority of people likely do not have it, given that most people have only opened 1 or 2 Gem Dragon eggs by now. We will be able to open another one this week, if you have been buying all the shards, even with pure bad luck, with no perfect runs, as I am currently at. You will have enough Dragon Eggs, I believe, by Thursday, or technically Friday if you didn't get that one other day, when it first came out. But it is possible to have the second Gem Dragon Egg if you have been up doing all those every single day. So that's still around, of course, that one mechanic from version 6.5. Anyways, other things that we have going on this week. Tuesday, we have the faction for Deep Hive. Of course, that is where Queen Beatrix resides, among one of the best faction troops in the entire game. Of course, you can get it at any point. You don't have to wait simply for the event to be around. However, the event for that is tomorrow, and she is pretty much spammed for the pure faction there. Wednesday, we have the little mall pet. It's just a Drifting Sands bonus, nothing really too special. It's been out for a while, so you might already have it maxed, but a few more copies of that if you need. Dervish is this Thursday, a pretty underwhelming hero class, but because it's so underwhelming, a lot of people probably don't have it fully maxed, so we'll be able to get some free XP for it, if nothing else. And this Friday, of course, as it says with the time here, we do need to have Bounty Hunter. We'll be getting another Bounty Hunter troop for that of Drifting Sands. Oddly enough, they coincide. A lot of times the Bounty Hunter is not coinciding with the actual kingdom itself. However, this week it does, so we'll get even another Drifting Sands troop, meaning it is technically 25 starable as of this week. If you happen to have the Gem Dragon plus all other options, it'll reach 25 star or 24 star otherwise if you don't have the Gem Dragon. So that'll be nice for Drifting Sands, a little bit extra bonus. Anyways, aside from troops available in Soulforge this week, very, very skippable week. You really do not end up needing anything here as far as the mythics are concerned. They're pretty much just completionist stuff, really average things. Draculus does have that cool mana drain, but there's better true damages out there like Beatrix and such if you really want a option for simply damage. And overall, I would say it's pretty skippable unless you just need them for kingdom upgrades. Weapons, on the other hand, have a few pretty good options. The main one I would say, if you don't already have it, is Doomed Axe. Doomed Axe is the Doom weapon here. Well, obviously, Doomed Axe. But it's the standard best quality of Doom weapon. The ones that do damage to all enemies while converting to Doom Skulls. This is a very powerful Doom type weapon, and advised to craft every single one of these for each of the 6 colors, and this is the one for yellow. So highly, highly advise getting that if you're getting absolutely anything from Soulforge. 2 other things to consider is Crystal Axe. Crystal Axe has some utility here and there with its monster synergy. Very occasionally used, but can be okay. And the other one is, oddly enough, for Deathbringer. So Deathbringer requires 3 different weapons, the Nefertani weapons, and one of them is available this week, the Scarab of Nefertani. So if you haven't gotten the 3 parts or still needing some, particularly the Scarab of Nefertani, to end up crafting out Deathbringer, it is advised getting this. Even if you don't plan on getting Deathbringer yet, I would advise getting the 3 pieces when you see them roll around. Mostly because even if you don't plan on crafting it, it's going to be a while before this weapon comes back around again. Could be several months, could be even a year or so. So it is advised to end up crafting this if you're going to do any one thing in Soulforge, as this will probably be the best for your overall progress. Or you're definitely going to craft something like Dawnbringer first because it's better, and Deathbringer, of course, being at another 1,000,000 souls, quite expensive. But in the long term, it is good to have these 3 other cheaper weapons, so that whenever you decide you do want to go for the Deathbringer grind, you can just do it within a month or so, rather than having to wait months upon months upon months for all 3 of the weapons or whatever you're missing to still rotate around. So I do advise getting it. You're not actually ever going to use this weapon, but it's used to eventually craft a Deathbringer. So do make sure to pick it up if you have the resources for it this week, as it ends up actually being pretty cheap. I thought it was 100,000 souls. Never mind. So yeah, it's actually pretty cheap. So yeah, definitely make sure to pick it up before the end of the week if you can. Anyways, let's go into a bunch of teams for everything this week. Starting with, of course, the World event. So from the top all the way at the World event, we're doing here a Spam Queen Beatrix build. We're just doing a Brown Storm weapon into Beatrix and basically spamming Beatrix until we win. That's essentially the entire premise of what we have with this team. The other one you kind of saw in the other build right over there, where we're kind of using a yellow spam team, where we're using the Desert Worm for a little bit extra. We have the doubling of the Desert Trolls. We have Titan to half mana start the Desert Trolls as well as itself. And we're using the 250 wins Dervish weapon in order to just poke damage on everything, since it's a very accessible weapon that you just get from simply getting 250 wins on Dervish. And the event for that's this week as well, so you can get even more progress on it. Aside from that, of course, we have the Tuesday faction this Tuesday. This is going to be for the Deep Hive. This is a brown-green restriction, so we do have access to that of Guard's avatar. Of course, weapon can be any color you want, which is why it's not brown or green. This is basically this Leprechaun, feed it up, good to go from there. Next team we have here is basically standard Truffle team. You have Forest Troll, which is kind of like the other troll that doubles yellow, except this one's doubling green. We double all the greens. Has a lot of tank ability, has Entangle, really nice tank, while still doubling green. It'll end up doubling the greens for for King Gobtruffle. This will end up creating a bunch of green and brown off of extra turn, and you basically just keep spamming his ability until you kill everything out. We have Warden here for two reasons. One, or mostly it's combo. It is the only hero class in the entire game that has Leaf Storm combined with Dispel. This is really useful because there's a lot of Submerge and Underworld, but maybe not a lot, but there's one perk that ends up doing it, and if you end up having that while having an only AoE team, it's very annoying. So this basically makes Gobtruffle able to consistently run against everything, and you basically have this, it does its Dispel, you keep spamming with Truffle, eventually you get enough mana to do your weapon as well, you get a big damage burst, and you basically just Truffle loop into your final killing option. With the Doomed Glaive. And if you don't have Doomed Glaive, you can do pretty much anything there. The main team is just Forest Troll into double Truffle. Heroes mostly so here for its traits more so than anything. Anyways, as far as Pure Faction, a couple different ways you could run it, though. Basically 4 Beatrix, 3 Beatrix with a tank is the main way to go. This is a safer method where you run a Scarab Knight in first slot, which not only has 50% reduction, but also ends up having Barrier and utilizes the excess brown that you're going to be getting off for Beatrix, since it will give something to feed into it. And you basically spam Beatrix until you win, kind of like the World Event team that we showed, except this is a Pure Faction version of it, using the other tank since you can't use Hero. And here we have the Dervish Clash. This, is, of course, is on Thursday. The restriction for this is monsters from Drifting Sands. So in this particular team, we go for triple Sandrunner. Sandrunner is that other damage source I was talking about. If you don't want to go the Worm, you do have access to this. And it's quite a bit quicker for these battles since they keep pretty low stats, especially if you're just doing the free battles. Ends up having a 75% mana start. You could literally just win off of 4 of these if you really want to. You don't even need to use Hero. Though, of course, you might want to use Hero to get XP on whatever you still need Class XP on. But it deals a bunch of damage to the first and last enemy, and then deals double damage to a random enemy. And he has 75% mana start, so just a few mana gets him up. You get all of them up, you spam them out, and then you just instantly win. And lastly, of course, we have Bounty Hunter. It's just Ogress, Tigraki Warrior, Corpse Mare, and whatever on Earth the Bounty Captain is this weekend. It's a pretty weak one. You just kind of put in the last slot, just let it sit there for the extra points. And that's all you have to do for Bounty Hunter. Same strategy as always, doesn't actually really change. We haven't gotten any meta shift for it for quite some time, so still a pretty standard team as you'd pretty much always run for Bounty Hunter for this bounty weekend. Anyways, guys, that will wrap it up for now. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. All the teams mentioned in this video will also be in the comment section below, as well as in the description if you want to go and copy-paste any of them. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it there as well. Hope you all have a wonderful Labor Day if you have the holiday where you are. And I will catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you so much for watching. Oh, also, of course, as per usual, tonight we will be doing the chapter tasks. So if you want to see that, we will be messing around with all of those as well. Anyways, enjoy your week. Catch you guys later. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.